Hello, let's see, we're just getting set up here. Give me just a second. Okay, we're just gonna give a couple moments and see if anybody is around to hop on. Just be patient with me here. Maybe there will be some people that can join live. Excuse me. So if you are new to me, my name is Erin. I'm a healer, coach, many things. I have done many different modalities, and I've been doing healing work with clients for over 14 years, which seems crazy to say, and just love doing that work in the world and doing my light work, right? Definitely a light worker. And if you know me, you know I love learning, and I love learning new modalities. First and foremost, always for myself, to go through my own process, my own healing journey. As a lot of you know, I've had a lot of childhood trauma, just different things that have gone on in my life that I've had to heal myself from and grow and shift, and I'm always on that journey. And that's what I help other people do, and that's kind of what I'm obsessed with, right? Is just learning modalities to be able to help myself and others. And some of you have heard me talk about family constellation work, but I want to go a little bit more in depth into it today, because this modality came into my life a little less than a year ago, and I just didn't have the bandwidth or the space to be able to do it back then, because I was in the middle of moving. And it really, I remember I watched one of the videos and I was like, oh, nope, I can't do that. And ended up, meeting my teacher through another person. And that's how I came into the work. And I just was very called to it. I've done a little bit of ancestral healing work in the past through a different modality. While I loved that work, it seemed a bit more complicated, and it was very effective in a lot of ways, but I was curious to learn something else, and when you talk about family work to me, I'm like, ooh, tell me more about that. And once I started learning about what it was, I was hooked and I wanted to know more. And so family constellation work is a form of ancestral healing. And it was created by Bert Hellinger. He was a priest actually in South Africa for about 16 years, and with a Zulu tribe. And with that tribe, he started spending time with them. And if you're here, say hi. If you're watching later, say #replay. I always just like to know who pops by. But Bert Hellinger spent a lot of time with this South African tribe, and he started being kind of immersed in their customs and how they really honor their ancestors. And I believe I read, that they believed there were 3 things that give you strength. It's the earth, the sky, and your ancestors. And so there's a lot of cultural things that tribe does to honor ancestors. And they believe that the ancestors are just always there, always working with them and through them, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of, as a lot of cultures do, a lot of other cultures have more practices of honoring ancestors than maybe we do in our culture. But so he spent that time there, and then he trained in a bunch of different things and kind of started getting into some of this kind of work that he created, but he just took a different spin on it. And essentially what family constellations is the constellation is the family. And in family constellation work, we believe that the family has a soul. Like you have your own individual soul, but there's the soul of the family. And that there are some of us that come into the family line and we just decide, in order to belong, in order to stay connected to the family, that we will take on the suffering of the ancestors. And this isn't a conscious choice. This is all done unconsciously. We're not aware that we're carrying these burdens of our ancestors. And I'll explain a bit about how we can carry these burdens and how the work works to release these burdens. But so there's suffering in all cultures, right? There's suffering in all, doesn't matter how we were raised. I mean, you don't have to go that far back to see that there's been some trauma probably in your family's ancestry. If not, you may already know, like there might be some currently that your family experienced. And in the family constellation work, we look at if there were what we call entanglements. So these are ancestral entanglements that, again, get distributed down through the generations. And some of us take on those burdens in order to belong to the family. So again, it's not conscious. This is all an unconscious decision. So if you're somebody, I'll get into the ways that happens, the traumas that happen. But currently, right now, if you're somebody who struggles with, like myself, chronic fatigue has been an ongoing issue for me over the years. So any chronic health issues, chronic pain, autoimmune disorders, persistent anxiety and depression, those are the main things that we look at. Like if you're suffering from one of those things and it's just not getting any better, or it comes back around and comes back around, it could be that, it could be so many things, right? But one of the things to address, in my opinion, is to make sure to clear yourself of any of these ancestral tanglements so that we're not carrying on these burdens and this suffering, which is playing out in this lifetime. Another thing can be infertility. I work with a lot of women, right? And a lot of women that struggle with people pleasing. And I've always known that these things get passed down, right? Even epigenetics tells us that trauma gets passed down generation to generation. So I've always known that things even like people pleasing can get passed down. If you look back in your family history, even back to your mom, your grandparents, so on and so forth, you can see similarities in how patterns seem to keep getting passed, right? But some other things that we see are having a really hard time receiving. And that's super common for a lot of women. But that actually is connected to one of the movements that we do in the family constellation work. Seeing and being seen. So, if you're a business owner and you're struggling with getting seen or having views on your stuff or things like that, that can be an issue of the ancestral suffering that has been passed down. And another big one is just difficulty stepping into your own life. Maybe feeling like you haven't really had your own life. Maybe you've been a mother and you've done all these things, but you've never really done anything for you and you don't really know what it is you want. That is also a symptom of this ancestral entanglement. So some different things that can cause the entanglements. And again, we get into these because we're trying to take on the burdens and the suffering of the ancestors in a way to belong to them. And it's for a safety, it's for a survival purpose. And then we kind of become the chosen one to take on all the stuff, But there's a lot of talk in spiritual community where, you're the chosen one in your family line to take on that suffering so that you can help the family line. But while I think there's some truth to that, in the family constellation work, we actually release these burdens, this suffering that we've been carrying, that it isn't ours to carry. And our ancestors don't want us to carry it. So there's this returning of it, but in this really beautiful way. It's not like you're returning the suffering, like, here you go, guys, you deal with your stuff. It's not like that. It's that there's one of the movements in the order, there's 7 movements that we do in the family constellation session process. Well, eventually we get to all 7. And in the movements, one of the movements is having you take your appropriate place. Now, what does that mean? Well, first of all, if you've had any, so in my case, I had an adopted brother. I thankfully just recently met him in the last year. But before that, my place in the family order was not clear because I didn't know about him. He didn't know about us. And so we see that as your soul starts moving from place to place because you don't have your appropriate place. And just that moving from place to place in your family order, just in your sibling order, can create anxiety. So it's everything that's going on an energetic level. I don't want to say scary. The unfortunate thing about the energetic level is that we don't know that it's there. It's unconscious a lot of the time. So whatever happens on an energetic level eventually shows up on a physical level. And so if you don't have your appropriate place and you're moving from place to place, then that creates discord within your system. And if you are carrying the entanglements of your ancestors unconsciously, you don't have the full access to your life force energy, which can drain you. So I had chronic fatigue for many years. It was caused by, several things, but one of the things I truly feel it was caused by is this entanglement that I had taken on. Another movement we do is called the Big Little movement. And when I say movements, we're doing that with these dolls. The dolls are actually standing in and representing your family of origin. And yeah, you'll just have to trust me on that one, but I use these dolls, they represent the family, and it's a really sacred, beautiful practice is all I can say about the ancestral healing. It's super sacred, super powerful, very subtle, but it's felt. You can feel energy moving within you. That's the only way I can explain that. So one of the movements is called the Big Little dynamic, and that's where you've inappropriately, now again, completely unconscious, we don't choose to do this, but that's where we inappropriately take, as the younger one, we inappropriately take the bigger place to take on all that suffering, and that creates a lot of depletion in your system as well. So, like I said, there's several different movements that we do. Everything energetically has a physical component. So, for instance, the Big Little dynamic, if you are in your inappropriate place and being inappropriately big, then you're probably going to be depleted. It's going to be difficult to find your place in life. And when we are in those inappropriate places, we don't have full access to our own life force energy. And the movement of love cannot flow through the family soul. So I'm just sharing all of this because this work has been really profound for me since it's come into my life. I've been able to access more energy. The day after I did my very first family constellation session, I couldn't stop writing all day. I mean, I was just writing and writing and writing and writing. It's like it opened up space for creativity to flow. Shortly after that, maybe a few weeks, and then I started working on my book more, and I had all this energy, and then it kind of opened up some other healing work that I had to do with some other members of my family. So that's kind of been a process I've been in and been moving through. But I wanted to share all this because I'm really, really passionate about this modality. I've been working with clients on it, and one client has seen some shifts in her anxiety. Of course, I'm doing a lot of different work with her, but she really had a powerful experience with the family constellation work. So if you're somebody that's you've been kind of suffering with those same issues that just kind of feel like they're on repeat and not really sure, you've tried a lot of different things, but it's well, what could that be? This might be something you want to try. Or at the very least, just reach out and message me about it, because this work is really powerful, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. And, excuse me, as I yawn during my live. But I just wanted to share all this. I will be offering a special on the family constellation work of $475 for 3 sessions. They're normally $555. So that is a special I'm offering right now. You can do a 2-month payment plan or a 3-month payment plan and just do 1 session per month for 3 months. And if you did that, it goes down to $165 a month. So at the $475 special. So I'm going to do that special probably through July while I have some spots available. And then, but I just wanted to open it up. It is a part of my one-on-one program, my 3 or 6 month one-on-one program. And it is a part of my aligned program, which I will be running another one of those sometime in the fall. But I wanted to put it out there for anybody that I've been talking about it to, and you may be interested in those kind of sessions. Reach out to me, let me know. It's extremely powerful work if you are dealing with some reoccurrent issues, or if you just want, you just have had trauma in your family of origin or in your ancestral line, and you just want to make sure that you're not carrying any of those burdens. It's a beautiful practice for anybody to do, really. And by the way, when you do the family constellation session for yourself and your children are under the age of 18, there is this transition that when they're 18 or older, they do have to do their own family constellation session just due to that transition into adulthood. But, if for it to take effect is what I'm trying to say. They don't have to do anything. But if your kids are under the age of 18 and you do the family constellation work, it actually goes down to your children. So that's really powerful too. So reach out. I hope to have, I will have a kind of page or video up about it more so that it's hopefully explained a little bit better. I'm trying to do my best to explain it. It is a little bit harder to explain at times. It's one of those things, if you are curious and just want to explore, it's pretty powerful. So thank you for watching this far, and I would love to see you in a session if it resonates. All right.